What's up, guys? It's your girl Foxie here. Thanks again for tuning in. So in my previous video, you guys would have known that about 3 months ago, my family and I moved over from New Zealand to Melbourne, Australia. So that video, people loved it and they said, look, we have questions. Can you answer a few questions for us? How did the trip go for y'all? Was it easy? What are some of the things you could advise us? We're thinking of moving over, and so on. So I thought, look, I promised I'll do it. Let me do a video that does like a little quick run through of things to take note of prior to moving. So we'll jump straight into it. Number one, you need to think about a bank account. Before you even, the moment you just decide, okay, cool, we're gonna move, think about a bank account. So we decided to go with Westpac. So there are a few banks, obviously, in Australia, but there are some that, these are some of the few that will let you actually open a bank account while you're still in New Zealand. So we went with Westpac. There's Commonwealth Bank, there's ANZ Bank, there's National Australia Bank. So we decided to go with the bank we went with because they actually allow you to open a bank account with them 12 months prior to physically being in Australia. So that was a bonus for us because we could, be sending money over as time went by. So that brings me to my second point, sending money through to your Australian bank account. So honestly, it's all up to you. The only thing is, don't use your bank. A lot of people will tell you that the conversion rate that your bank has is a lot higher than other places. So it's important to just shop around first, test some apps. There's some apps out there that are really good. But another place that really helped us, a couple that moved here a long time ago wrote a little blog. It's called movingtoaustralia.net. If you guys go on there, they have a whole list of things that can help you with your move, similar to what I'm doing now. But most importantly, they have specific apps you can use to transfer your money over. So I say, look at those first, look at the conversion rates on them first before using your bank, like bank to bank. You're gonna lose money, especially when you're transferring hundreds of dollars. All right, on to my next point. Once you've opened your bank account, take note of this. Don't send all your money here. Hold on to, I say, a couple of thousands of dollars, especially when you are wanting to rent over here. Because the moment you open a bank account and send money over, you can't do anything with that money until you're physically here and you verified that account. So make sure that you're not sending lump sum of money that you will need closer towards the time you move, like transferring your bond and rent into your agency, or to just secure a house. You would need to directly deposit that money into that agency's account just to secure the house. The last thing you want is to end up in a situation that we were in, where we had sent all our money, in a week prior to that we had to provide, obviously, which is secure the home we were going to move into. Before securing it, they told us, look, the account didn't, money didn't come into account. And we thought, what do you mean? We have tons of money in there. We had a look, and yes, we cannot touch, we can't withdraw, set up automatic payments, or transfer anything out of that account. So that's a good note for you before you go sending all your money and you find yourself in a tricky position like we were in. So that moves me over to my next point, finding a house in Australia. This can take a while, guys. It's a process anywhere you go, but particularly here in Melbourne, houses are going really quickly, and it's important to start looking, I would say, 3 months before you actually move. The website that helped us was realestate.com.au. When you go on realestate.com.au, you can choose, the suburb you want. It's user-friendly. The site is user-friendly. And most importantly, the real estate agencies here, or property managing companies here, are really lovely. They will let you have someone to view the properties on your behalf. But that's the thing, you guys. You have to view them before you sign any lease agreement, before they can let you have the home, just for their security as well. The last thing also that you want is to move into a place and it's not quite what was on the photo, or not quite what you expected, and it's not functional for your family. So it's important to, one, you'll find that they're very helpful. Email them if you find a place you like. Even if you are still 3 months out before moving, I say email as many as you can. They respond, and they're very much willing to help you. And if you tell them, this is the type of home I want in this price range and in this area, they can help you, as in closer to when you approach the time you're going to move, they'll start even just sending you messages and saying, hey, we have this property, hey, we have this property. So, hit them up, explain your situation, and they're very understanding. All right, so the key difference is, this is moving on to my next point, Australia is slightly different to New Zealand in that in New Zealand, you pay rent weekly. You most likely pay rent weekly. You initially paid a bond of like 4 weeks worth of rent and 1 week in advance, and that was it. In Australia, you have to pay 1 month's worth of rent in advance, and rent, yes, is paid monthly. And that's something very important to take note of because it ends up being a double bond, right? It's a bond of 4 months worth of rent and 4 weeks worth of rent, 4 weeks worth of rent for your rent in advance. So it's very important to have that money on you, keep it aside so that you are prepared to send it prior to you physically moving here to secure the house. And so securing a house. That moves me on to my next point. It is very important to have number one is a job. Have a job already secured here. At least one of you, if you're a couple, one of you has to have a job secured here, just because they will require, this is a major requirement, obviously alongside your bank account, like they'd want to see a bank statement just to make sure you have enough funds. Also, just to make sure that they are secure and that you can, maintain the payments on the homes once you're here. So it's important for you to make sure you have a job. Make sure you have a lease. They love to look at the lease ledgers, the rental ledgers. So make sure you ask that from your current landlord just to provide, or agency, just to provide something to show that you can pay rent, or you pay rent on a weekly basis and consistently. And then also they require a bunch of ID. There was one form, it's called Form 1 or One Form, that you'll see on realestate.com.au. Once you fill that in, it will ask you to upload documents that are required, that most people require you to have as ID. They call it here like 100 points of ID, which is just usually like your license or your passport and a bunch of other documents that will help support your application. So it's important to fill that on realestate.com.au, create a little account, update your profile as you go on. And so I say start looking for a home 3 months prior to your move. It is very important, and find someone who is flexible enough to move around. Look at in different areas as well, because rent does vary from different suburbs. But yeah, it's usually very cheap here or affordable. The 7th one is rent a car. So once you get your family here, you want to have rented a car 2 or 3 days prior to you arriving here, so that when you're at the airport, you have a car that you've rented for a week, they just hop into, and you drive to go collect your keys, and it's perfect. It's convenient, you are more organized, and you get some time to actually see the city before you can settle in. If you want to buy a car, I would recommend going to www.carsales.com.au. You guys, this site is where most people post their cars for sale. And it's very important, though, I would say rent a car for a week or 2 weeks while you're looking, because you want to physically inspect the cars. This is not something you'd want to do while you're still in New Zealand. Common sense. So unless you want to use public transport, and in the case where you want to use public transport, they have a thing called My Key card, which is similar to a Hop card if you lived in Auckland. It's just a card that you upload your credit on it, and you can use it on your train, on the buses, and so on. You can find these at the train stations. I believe they sell them at train stations or 7-Elevens or supermarkets. If you find a Coles or a Woolworths here, I think they sell them there as well. And number 10, Gumtree and eBay. Gumtree is also another place you can find jobs. Seek is another place you can find jobs. And also the cool thing about Gumtree is it's similar to TradeMe in that you can buy like secondhand furniture. Things are quite, it can be overwhelming when you move over here, especially if you're like us and you didn't move with your household items. So, buying little things here and there, I found Gumtree user-friendly, and people are usually very lovely over here. If you want to send your items over, your household items over, again, check out movingtoaustralia.net, because they have really cool links to sites where you can, go on there and see and get quotes and to see how much it will be to send your stuff over. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was very helpful for y'all if you're considering moving over here. If you have any more questions that you think I can answer for you, just comment below and let me know. All right, so we'll catch you on the next video. Ciao. Mwah, mwah, mwah.